Follow the 2021-22 Premier League season on the OneFootball app, with breaking news stories, match stats and live scores. Get customised push notifications to receive team news, goal alerts and more. Download it for free, the link is in the description. Welcome back to another team selection preview. And as always, we'll begin by looking back at Gameweek 8, where a score of 53 points resulted in a red arrow down to 175k. It all went wrong for Arsenal in the second half against Crystal Palace, and Ramsdale conceded more than once for the first time in his 5-match run. Alexander-Arnold came in as a late transfer, replacing Azpilicueta. I had my doubts over a Chelsea clean sheet after Rudiger was ruled out, so opted to bring forward that move, which was penciled in for later down the line. Diaz missed out on Man City's clean sheet against Burnley, only appearing for an 18-minute cameo. But thankfully, Livramento still came in from the bench after Rafinha missed out completely. Aside from those 3 clean sheets, it was literally only Mo Salah who earned points, after some fantastic individual brilliance to fashion a goal out of nothing, similar to the one he scored against Man City before the break. Mbeumo struck the post twice as Brentford somehow failed to breach a resilient Chelsea defence, while Saka, after being booked, took a fierce kick from MacArthur that ultimately led to his withdrawal at half-time. No points amongst the forwards this week, as Lukaku saw a goal ruled out for offside for a second game week running, while Jimenez was another player to suffer after a busy international break, restricted to just a 2-minute cameo. So let's move on to discuss the future transfer plans ahead of Game Week 9. After moving in for Alexander-Arnold last game week, the plan here is to take stock and save a free transfer. But one player that is very much on the chopping block is Mikhail Antonio, who now has just 1 goal across his last 4 matches. The underlying numbers are still there. Despite missing a game in the last 5 game weeks, his tally of 15 shots trails only Ronaldo amongst forwards. And he also ranks amongst the top 4 strikers for expected goals. So those numbers are likely to see him get a couple more weeks, with Spurs and Aston Villa up next, before then having to face Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea over a 5-match spell from Game Week 11. Callum Wilson and Kelechi Iheanacho have joined the watch list, but the player most likely to replace Antonio in a few weeks' time is Ivan Toney. Brentford were desperately unlucky not to come away with a goal against Chelsea, and their fixtures now start to improve. In the last 4 game weeks, Toney ranks joint top amongst all players with a tally of 3 big chances created, and only Bruno Fernandes can better his 2.02 expected assists figure. But that's a move for the future. The plan is to save a free transfer this week, and let's take a look at how the team is set to line up for Friday's deadline. Despite their second half blip against Crystal Palace, the Gunners still rank second only to Man City for XG conceded in the last 4 game weeks. They face an Aston Villa side that have scored 7 goals in that time, with only Leicester and Liverpool managing more. But they've registered an expected goals figure of just 3.9 meanwhile, which ranks amongst the bottom 5 teams. It looks likely to be a back 4 once again in defence, though there is an option to bench Alexander-Arnold, with Livramento at home to Burnley and Saka if fit welcoming Aston Villa. But the Liverpool right-back offers so many different avenues for points, with his creativity, his goal threat, his set pieces, all in addition to clean sheet potential. Antonio Rudiger has returned to training, and looks to be in good stead for a recall against Norwich this weekend. The Canaries have managed just a single goal in the last 4 game weeks, and rank ahead of only Burnley for expected goals. Ruben Dias is also well placed for a start after his rest last game week, but with Zinchenko back fit, it could be Cancelo's turn to sit out next. Brighton rank 14th for expected goals in the last 4 game weeks, and only Burnley, Southampton and Norwich have scored fewer goals than their 3. On current form, Brian Mbeumo earns a place in the starting 11, after being desperately unlucky not to score against Chelsea. In addition to his 2 goals this season, he struck the woodwork an astounding 6 times. No other player has hit it more than once. And likewise, Rafinha earns a recall after his impressive displays while away with the Brazil national team. Leeds managed just 3 shots without him in Game Week 8, compared to their average of 15 per game in the first 7 game weeks. Mikhail Antonio faces a Spurs side that have failed to keep a clean sheet in their last 5 matches, shipping a league-high 12 goals in that time. They rank 5th worst for expected goals conceded meanwhile, with only Aston Villa, Norwich, Watford and Leeds faring worse. And joining him will be Raul Jimenez, set to return to the Wolves starting 11 after his rest last time out. The Mexican has recorded 5 big chance involvements in the last 4 game weeks, ranking joint top with Harry Kane amongst forwards. Leeds have conceded 7 goals in the same period, and their 10.07 XG conceded figure is the worst of any team in that time. And finally, we come on to what has all of a sudden become a more difficult captaincy decision, with the form of Mohamed Salah matched up against a more favourable fixture for Romelu Lukaku. The Liverpool talisman has only failed to score in 1 match this season, and is on a run of 6 consecutive returns. Man United are without a win in the last 3 game weeks, where they've conceded 6 goals. Only Watford with 7 have been more porous. But this is a game that means so much to the fans and the players, at Old Trafford against one of their biggest rivals. The kind of game where form goes out of the window to an extent. Romelu Lukaku has been unfortunate not to return in the last 4 game weeks, where he's hit the woodwork and seen 2 goals ruled out for offside by narrow margins. He's also created 2 big chances that have gone unconverted in that time. In fairness to Norwich, they have kept back-to-back clean sheets, against Burnley and Brighton. But Chelsea will surely prove to be a much bigger test for them, and I'm backing the Belgian to return to the scoresheet in Saturday's early kickoff.